Alright, this time, right now, I'm going to talk about wrestling in prayer. And just when we go to God in prayer, we really need to spend time just wrestling with Him. And I want to take this lesson from Genesis chapter 32 about Jacob. He's wrestling with God. And just to give the background, first in Genesis 32, 22, 32, you see Jacob wrestle with God throughout the night. And it's really important, but just before that, I wanna go through the whole story of Jacob real quickly. Not the whole story, but just a few points. At his birth, he was born. They named him Jacob, which means to grab the heel. It also means he cheats or he supplants, or he grabs the heel, which he did when he was born. He grabbed the heel of his brother and beat him when he came out. And later, Jacob takes advantage of his brother's hungry. His brother comes in, Esau comes in hungry, and he's just starving, and Jacob takes advantage of that, and he makes him sell his birthright in Genesis 25:33. And so Esau does. Of course, in Hebrews it says this was a wicked act, but it was just Jacob acting according to his nature. He saw opportunity, and he supplanted him from his birthright. Then at a time when their father was close to passing away, Jacob, at the encouragement of his own mother, went and tricked his father into blessing him with the blessing that was supposed to be for Esau. And he went in there, and it was an elaborate plan. Genesis 27:30 talks about this. And so here we see that Jacob stole both, or not stole, but took both Esau's birthright and his blessing. And he was just acting according to his nature, really, in getting these things. And that's why even Esau's brother was like, well, surely it was right that your name was supplanter, the one who supplants, because you've done it to me twice here. And so when we look at the first part, we see Jacob acting according to his nature, doing things according to his way. But then we come to this point in Genesis 32:22 to 32, where God, or the pre-incarnate Christ, the Lord, the creator of the heavens and the earth, comes and visits him in his tent. It's at night. Jacob just sent everyone away, so he's by himself. Maybe he was getting ready to rest or relax, and God, at this probably inopportune time, comes, and he meets him there, and then they get into a wrestling match, and it's just, the idea of it is just amazing. And so Jacob is just wrestling with God, basically, in the flesh, and it's not just some little wrestling match. It's not just for a few minutes. Often that's how we pray, is 4 or 5 minutes here and there, and we call that wrestling with prayer, when actually it's really sad to see. This is my own heart, as understanding that, like, I think wrestling in prayer is when I pray real hard for a good 2-3 minutes. But here we see Jacob, and he's wrestling with God throughout the night. He is going at it with God, wrestling, and he's holding on, and all Jacob can do is hold on, and then the Lord, he kicks him, he pops his hip out, pops Jacob's hip out, and Jacob just keeps holding on. That's all he can do. There's no tricking the Lord. There's no trying to work a way or a method with the Lord. All Jacob can do here is hold on. There's no anything about him, his abilities to trick or get his way or work the situation to his benefit, that's not happening here. Because if you've ever worked with people or seen people with hips that have been dislocated or displaced, it is not a good feeling. You pretty much become immobile, not able to stand on it. It's just extreme pain. And so here is Jacob, the one who used his ways to trick his ways into getting a birthright, to trick his way to get a blessing. Here he is, just holding on to the Lord, and with all his might, and he won't let go. And he says, I can't let go. And the Lord is like, hey, I got to get out of here, let go, get off me. But Jacob's like just squeezing harder, and he's like, I won't, please, I won't go till you bless me. And in this counter is when he gets the true blessing. At this time, God changes him physically and also characteristically, because he changes Jacob's name from Jacob to Israel, which the nation gets their name from. And so how I would apply it to us today is that, are we really wrestling and struggling and just holding on to God, holding on to Christ, and just wrestling with Him in prayer, and really just spending that time to say, hey, God, I'm going to keep praying and praying, and I desire that you bless me. And not like prosperity style blessings with junk, but blessing with more of Him, with what He desires of us. You could see that names really had an importance. Names really defined a person. And so ask God, to just bless you and define you according to His will, according to His truth, according to His name. And so when is the last time you struggled in prayer? When is the last time you really just wrestled with God in prayer? And not a few minutes here and there, but spent a set time apart and said, I'm just going to pray to the Lord. I'm going to just keep praying. And I know that if your heart is that, for Him to see you, to know you go to a holy, mighty, righteous God and say, God, I'm going to hold on to you, and I want your blessings. Let's go to God in prayer.